Let's start off with Florida versus Auburn. I'm so excited for this game. We obviously saw it in the jungle this year. Florida was a 10.5-point dog going into that game in the jungle, and without Elijah Martin and without a couple other guys. Handglotton wasn't playing in that game. And then Auburn. Auburn coming in, they beat Michigan State. It wasn't even a game the whole time. Florida been kind of sleepwalking through this tournament a little bit. Almost got by Dan Hurley and UConn. Didn't play a full 40 minutes against Maryland, but they got it done in the second half, no problem. And then Texas Tech, arguably Texas Tech choked that game. And so Florida, who was this super hot team from the SEC, winning the SEC going into this tournament, you go, what on earth? Florida almost sleepwalks their way to the Final Four. And now we have a rematch. Like I said, Florida was a 10.5-point dog without Elijah Martin, went into the jungle and beat Auburn by 9 points. Now, do I think that happens again? The Vegas odd makers say Florida minus 2.5 in this game. Over under 160.5. I like the over a lot, and that's what I'm going to end up taking in this game. I'm not going to take a side for if you're betting on this game. I'm not going to give you one of those picks. I've been ice cold, so don't tail me here. But Florida versus Auburn, what this game is ultimately going to come down to is people are going to say Johni Broom's injury, Johni Broom. He's playing. I think he's fine. Bruce Pearl seems very confident about that. I feel like Johni Broom is now become one of those players, and this is going to sound like a diss towards him, but it's really not. It's because he's just an automatic bucket. He's almost guaranteed to get his 18 to 20 and 9 to 11 rebounds. Like, he's going to get that. And now, at the same time, in this game, is it going to be efficient scoring from Johni Broom? We saw Florida's bigs have a little bit of success against Johni Broom. He went 8 of 19. He did score a decent amount of points in their last matchup in the jungle against Florida. But he wasn't super efficient in that game. And I think that's one advantage Florida has in this spot is the bigs. They can go single coverage against Johni Broom like Michigan State. I think you could throw that Michigan State film out the window if you're Florida. I wouldn't even watch it because Michigan State did not have the bigs to combat Johni Broom, and they're going one-on-one with Jackson Kohler, and that's just a nightmare matchup. It was going to be a disaster all night long. Ben and I talked about it a little bit. If it was going to be Auburn versus Michigan State, we liked Auburn by double digits in that game. Johni Broom was barbecue chicken the entire time. But Florida, Michigan State had to play double coverage there. But Florida can play single coverage. And not many teams can do that against Johni Broom. And you have to have two bigs because Auburn plays with two bigs with Dylan Cardwell. And so I almost think the bigs are a wash in this game. What this ultimately comes down to in this game is, what are you getting from Tahad Pettiford? What you get from Tahad Pettiford decides this game. Chaz Baker-Mazara could go off. Denver Jones could go off. Miles Kelly. Obviously, Tahad Pettiford's the X factor in this game. If Tahad Pettiford comes in and has a stinker and shows up and goes 3 of 13 and has 8 points and a few turnovers and doesn't bring at least a B game for Tahad Pettiford, I don't think Auburn has a chance in this game. He is the sole X factor of this team, and he is a big game player, man. And Florida, Walter Clayton has been the guy of this tournament. Shout out our guy Cole Adams. He said Walter Clayton is going to be the Kemba candidate this year. He's going to be the Kemba Walker, the Marquise Noel, the Jimmer Fredette of this tournament and completely take over. And we've seen that. Walter Clayton's been the guy in this tournament. And you look at the matchup and you think, okay, Florida should be favored on paper because they've got all the different guards. They've got the bigs. They can throw up Broom. It all makes sense there. But is it crazy that I kind of like Bruce Pearl as the better coach in this matchup? It shouldn't be crazy. Bruce Pearl's played in a Final Four, arguably had one of the craziest chokes in a Final Four against Virginia, handed Virginia a title, basically. Tony Bennett should be sending them thank you gifts every year. I think Auburn has the coaching matchup. I really, for some reason, believe Auburn actually wins this game over Florida. I think the sleepwalking catches up to Florida, And I think Tahad Pettiford is just such a big game player. In the biggest moments and the biggest games, he's so comfortable. He's so comfortable. And so is Walter Clayton. I'm not discounting that by any means. But I think the X factor of Tahad Pettiford really matters in this game. Chad Baker Mazara, Denver Jones, or Miles Kelly, they could go off. And I could regret saying this, and Florida could go out and win by 10 points, but we're going to rock with Auburn here, actually. I think the coaching matchup actually does matter in this spot. And I understand Elijah Martin didn't play in their first matchup, and then they're getting him back, and they still won by 9 points in Auburn's home court. But I think the X factor of Auburn's guards, and I'm betting on the ceiling of them. And you could say, well, Walter Clayton's the best guard in this tournament. Elijah Martin's been unbelievable. Will Richard, I know it sounds crazy, but I'm backing the coach here. And I think Janai Broome gets his 20 and 10, even against single coverage against these Florida bigs. And I don't really know if Janai Broome necessarily matters too much in this game. It really comes down to the guard play. And I just think Tahad Pettiford is going to have a great game. Now, if he comes out and he shoots 3 of 13, like I said, Florida's winning that ball game, arguably by double digits, in my opinion. But I'm not betting a side in this game or anything. If I'm taking anything, we're going over in points. I don't care we're in a football stadium. I don't care the depth perception is going to be off. Give me the over in points. I'm taking Auburn in this game. I feel like I'm going to end up regretting that pick, but let's move on.